Let's be honest, how do you actually feel about your direction in life? Do you feel kind of lost, I guess, and even a little bit ashamed of feeling lost because everyone seems to know their direction, but you don't? And maybe you also have many different goals, but you often find it hard to motivate yourself, to find the drive to work on them. And even worse, you feel that uncomfortable question inside asking you, why am I even doing this? And so you're frustrated because you don't progress, you have no motivation, and you don't know why. Now, if that is the case, let me tell you that it very probably is because you're missing a purpose. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 steps that I personally followed to find my purpose. Understanding the problem, understanding the function of purpose, and third, understanding my purpose. Now, if you ask yourself, well, how does this guy actually know that my purpose is the problem? Let me tell you why. Very simply because what I've described to you was literally how I used to feel about 2 to 3 years ago when I didn't know my purpose yet. And once I actually found it, everything changed. Back then, I literally used to think that all I really wanted was to make 10K a month, be financially free, and be a digital nomad. That was what I was seeing from everyone on the internet, everyone telling me, in a few months you do your SMMA and this, and then you can go wherever you want, you're financially free, amazing life. And so I used to think that was what I wanted. At the same time, I really had a hard time motivating myself. I really felt like sometimes I was motivated to work on it for a month or 2 months straight, and then for another 2 months, I literally procrastinated it over and over and over again. And I didn't know why, because I thought I want that thing, right? I want it. But somehow I was procrastinating, and therefore I was making very slow progress, and therefore was feeling frustrated. And on top of that, my parents were always asking me, what will you be doing? What will you be studying? I was in my last high school years and I simply didn't know. And I felt bad of not knowing, what will I be doing in 2 years? I didn't know. Now, once I actually read 2 amazing books. One is here, Reality Transurfing, and another one is called The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. 2 amazing books, bro, amazing books. That's when I actually realized, okay, I'm actually missing a purpose. I don't know my direction in life. I don't know where I'm heading, and that is why I felt so lost, right? Because how can you expect to feel like you know where you're heading if you don't know where you're heading? And the feeling that I was getting, why am I even doing these things? I was on my self-improvement, taking my cold ice baths, reading, meditating, journaling, being social and everything. But I felt why am I even doing this? And that was because I had no real reason to be doing them. I was just doing them because people online told me, but I didn't know my purpose. And the worst part was my motivation that was lacking. I had no drive, and that was because I didn't have a long-term goal and vision that would motivate me to want to work hard. So now you hopefully have done step number 1, which is understanding the problem. And now you also know that your purpose will actually clear those things for you. You will always know exactly what to do. You will know because you will just have to ask yourself, well, does this get me towards my goals or not? And so you will be very decisive. You will be feeling at peace because you will know that you're going in the right direction. And therefore you will feel such an inner peace and such an inner amazing feeling of knowing where you're heading. Your purpose also gives you crazy motivation because you actually have, that vision that you want and that you really want. And so doing the hard work will become way easier and way more fun. And it's just such a game changer. Now we get into the third part where you're basically going to find your purpose. Now, I've put together a document where I've summarized everything you need to know, basically from start to finish, all the realizations and all the steps that I followed to find my purpose. So if you're serious about finding your purpose, you can go down there, you can download it for free. I don't want your email, I don't want anything. Download it for free, read through it, implement it, and you will find your purpose way faster than I did because I did many mistakes. And in that document, I shared with you all the realizations that basically I had to go through by making those mistakes. So you will very probably find it way faster than I did. Now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the document. If you don't care about that, if you want to read it by yourself and do all by yourself, by all means, go and download it and go and do it. If, on the other hand, you would like me to walk you through it, just keep on watching this video. So this is the actual document I mentioned to you earlier. As said, you have it in the description down below, and as you can see, it's quite long, so I will actually not go into great detail in everything. You can just go down there, download it, read through it again, and if you have any further questions, ask me in the comments, or if you want my personal help with anything, you can book a totally free coaching call. You have the link in the description down below. As I already mentioned, my goal was literally the thing that changed everything. Probably the second most important realization I had in the past 10 years. And here are the things I needed to realize to actually find my goal. The first one was that I should listen to everyone but never follow them. Why is that the case, you might be asking yourself? Well, because you are literally the only person on this planet who can know what is right for you. You have to realize this. Other people will give you their opinions, will give you, new insights, new ways to see things. And that's amazing. That's amazing. Never say no to that. But then always ask yourself what you think about it, what you think about it, and how you feel about it, because you're the only person who can know. The second realization was that my goal didn't have to be good for others. Very often we start thinking about these goals that we hope will be liked by others, but I had to realize this. My goal doesn't have to make sense to others. It doesn't have to be liked by others, because at the end of the day, I just have one life, and so I don't want to waste it chasing something that I don't feel is right for me just to please others. It doesn't make sense. Now, the third realization was that it also didn't have to make sense. Why is that? You might be asking yourself. Well, because your goal, the thing that you want in life, is way much more about feeling than it is about logic. You have to realize this. What we want is what our heart wants. It's not what our mind wants, because our mind wants many things. It wants, all the things that other people tell us, that will get us prestige, that will get us status, that will get us respect. But at the end, there is something, or there are actually probably more than one thing, and we will get to that realization later on, that you deeply want, that you would want even if it made no sense to others. Because you have to realize this. Your goal doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to, because you don't have to, explain yourself with logic why you prefer one kind of meal to another one. You just like the taste better, right? The same thing goes with your goal. You don't have to know why you like it better. You just have to like it better. That's it. That's all you need to know. Now, the fourth realization was that prestige was going to lead me off-road. Why is that? Because when we think about the goals that will get us, status and respect from others, and, make us look better in other people's eyes, we very often end up doing things that we don't really want to do, that we feel are not right for us. Now, the next realization was that my feelings were my compass. I already mentioned this. You shouldn't think about things, starting to think about the pros and cons of one goal, or why it should make logic sense. No. The only thing you need to know is, do I feel amazing about this? Do I feel like such a crazy energy when I think about this goal? Do I feel like I want to start taking action, that this is it? That's the feeling that I personally felt when I found my goal, and therefore you have to listen more to your feelings rather than your thoughts. Now, the next realization, forget about how to achieve it. Why is that? Well, because right now, I tell you the truth, your goal is very probably outside of your comfort zone. So right now, if you only, go after the goals that you feel are, achievable for you, then you're very probably not going to go after your true goal, the one that you actually want. If on the other hand, you tell yourself, okay, I forget for a second now what might be achievable or not. I just look for what I want, okay? And then I figure out how to get there, because at the end of the day, you can achieve anything. You already know this. You can literally do anything. But if you just look after the things that right now seem realistic or logical or like, smart and like good choices, then you're very probably going to run after goals that are not really what you wanted in the first place. Now, the next realization I had to understand was that other people's goals, so basically false goals, are always wrong. They always feel wrong. They always feel either one or more of these things. They feel like an obligation, or like they're being forced or imposed by someone, or like they're about prestige, like proving yourself, or they feel like they mainly serve someone else, right? Maybe you feel like your goal is to serve someone, but they don't serve you. That's also another indicator that's not your goal. They also leave you uneasy. They leave you heavy. They leave you drained. They leave you feeling like maybe it's not it. When you have that thought, when you have that feeling, it's very probably not the case. And we will get to how to identify your goal in just a minute. And the real goal, on the other hand, when I found it, bro, it felt totally different to all the other fake goals that I was, thinking about. It felt like literally, this is it. Like I felt I would do it even if no one was there to watch me. Even if I had all the money in this world, that would be the thing that I would want. And even if like I wouldn't achieve it, the journey itself would still be worth it. I felt like this is really it. Now, Another realization, simplicity is key. You have to realize that you might have many goals. You probably have many things that you would like, right? Many nice to have, nice add-ons that you would think, oh, this would be nice to have. But when you think about your goal, forget about all the nice to haves, all the add-ons. They will come if you achieve your goal. And even if they don't come when achieving your true goal, they will not matter anymore because you will have achieved the thing that you actually wanted instead of the little, add-ons, right? So ask yourself, what's the one thing that would change everything? Focus on one thing, not on many. You have more than one goal. Another realization that I had to go through because this really helped me out a lot. At the beginning, I had actually discovered quite, soon my goal, but I was afraid to admit it to myself because I was there overthinking, like, what if this is not the perfect goal? Like, I was feeling really hyped about it, but what if this is not the one goal, right? And that was because I was thinking that I just had one goal. Here is the truth. You probably have many different goals, like many real goals, right? Many things that would make your life feel like an ongoing holiday. But you don't have to actually achieve every one of them to feel amazing. Just achieving one is all you need, right? Just one alone would make your life totally different, would make you feel so amazing, right? So you don't have to think that you just have one goal and focus on the perfect one, because there is no perfect one. Just look after an amazing one that you know that will make everything change for you in an amazing way. Just look for that. And once you found that, don't overthink thinking to yourself, well, is this the perfect one? Because there are other ones too. There are going to be others too, to be really honest. But it doesn't matter because you don't need to have the perfect goal, just an amazing one. That's it. And now we get into the steps that I had to follow to actually find my goal. The first step I had to follow was letting ideas come to my attention. And here, what I really have done was doing the following things. I first of all kept always the same questions in mind, always the guiding questions that were like, what do I really want? What would make my life feel like a joyous holiday? What would I want if I couldn't fail, if I was invincible? And here another one that I will be adding is, what would I want if I had all the money in this world? I had achieved everything like monetary status. What would I want then? Now, the next thing I had to do was giving it some time and attention, because you're going to get some ideas. But how do you actually get those ideas, and how do you actually start thinking about them and evaluate them? Well, there are two main ways to do it. The first one is to literally take aside some time. That was what I was doing literally every single week. Pretty much every day I was taking aside 1 hour or 2 hours to think about it. When I had the time, I was always thinking about my goal. So take aside some time every week where you just your journal, nothing else, no distractions, no bullshit, thinking about your goal. And then what also works is you're basically going through the day and always keeping that question in mind. Okay, I'm just looking for the things that would make my life feel like an ongoing holiday. Okay, would I like this? When you see someone who has achieved something, what do I think about that? How do I feel about that? Get inspiration from everywhere. And then you basically get to the second step where you test the ideas, where you see if they're actually right for you or not. Now, the first kind of testing is trying to live the experience in your mind. Imagine yourself having achieved that goal. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like amazing, full of energy? You think like, that's it? Or do you feel like, I don't know, like, okay, it's nice, but something is missing. Now, if you have that feeling like something is wrong with it, there could be two cases why you have that feeling. The first one is that you feel like it's hard to get, but you want it. Like, you want that thing, but you feel like it's hard to achieve, or you're not able to think how you would be able to achieve it. That's because it's very probably a goal that's actually a good goal, but it's outside of your comfort zone, and that's actually a good goal. But if you feel like, I don't know if I really want that, that's not your goal. Now, the third kind of testing is basically letting them go and see how you feel about it. If you let go of a wrong goal, you will feel relieved. Once in a while, you may think about it, but you will feel kind of, okay, amazing, feel better now. If on the other hand, you start thinking about it over again, and you try to let it go, but it is haunting you, literally after days you're still thinking about it, then you know that it is very probably your goal. And then the last test you can go through is basically running it through the purpose lens. Does it feel like an obligation? Do I feel morally obligated towards someone or something? Would I feel bad if I was not doing it for someone or something? Am I doing it for prestige? Would I do it if there was no one to see me, literally? If I was the only one on this planet, would I still want that? Does it feel unattainable and discouraging? Would I still do it if I was guaranteed to succeed? Like, very often we like goals that feel unattainable because somehow we as humans in our mind, we like things that are under a lock, that are, hard to get. So if you were guaranteed to get it, would you actually want it? Am I doing it to prove something to myself or others? Does it feel like a challenge, like a way for me to prove something? Was it imposed on me? Like, did this idea come actually from others, or did it come from myself? Now, if the idea came from others in a way that someone just mentioned something and you felt like, oh, amazing, that's it, or like you were really hyped about it, then I would say that is still kind of like not coming from others. It's just something that they mentioned. But if your parents still, since when you were a child, tell you, you should be that, you should be that, you should be that, you should be doing that, then it's very probably not your goal, because you have kind of like just accepted it inside of yourself. Yeah, I will probably do that, right? And so maybe you don't feel uneasy about it anymore, but still it is very probably, being imposed on you. And does it mainly improve someone else's life, or does it actually improve my life? Because other people's goals are trying to make us feel guilty, make us feel bad that we are not saving the world, or we are not, doing this for humanity. That's just your mind, feeling guilty. So that's not your goals. And now, if you were to respond yes to any of these questions, then you know that it is very probably not your goal. And here, the last thing I want to tell you is that deep down, you already know. You already know if it's the right thing for you or not. You always know. And you always also know exactly the goal. You have just not accepted it yet. So I really hope this video helped you out, and I'm sure it will actually get you to find your purpose if you implement these steps. Now, if you have any further questions, you can either comment them down below and I will respond as quickly as possible. And if you want my personal help with it, you would want someone on your side that has already, found it for himself to help you out, to figure out things, then you can book a totally free coaching call. In the description down below, you will find a link for that. Anyways, really hope this video was valuable. I wish you an amazing day, and I really hope, and I'm sure you will if you actually implement it, find your purpose very soon. Ciao.